Hello and welcome back to Limited Insight. My name is Hunter, and today we are joined by none other than
Colin.
And all of you
What
know
up?
who Colin is. All 10 of you know Colin, obviously. We are actually going to be doing our Bloomburrow Prerelease Prep guide. And so this video is going to be kind of in conjunction with the last video. We're going to continue our limited theme here. We're not going to talk about the limited archetypes or any of the specific cards or anything. We're actually more going to just focus on what the pre-release is, how you should do it, and how to succeed, right?
Yep. Yeah, sounds good. It's more general guidelines.
Yeah. So let's get right into it, I think. Obviously, right here we have Maha, who is just magnificent, right? This is my, I think, number one open at pre-release. I want this card right here. So let's get into it. So starting out, what is a pre-release? Okay. Right here I gave you a little picture. This is my friend and myself, Noah. We are at the Thunder Junction pre-release. And basically, a pre-release is an event for a new set of Magic the Gathering that stores put on to get people hyped up for the set. So you'll receive a little kit. You'll open it up, you'll build a deck, and then you'll play other people who are at the pre-release. Usually there's going to be some prizes, and honestly, this is probably my favorite way to play a set of Magic. Draft is, more strategic. It's got a lot more interesting things that can happen, with all the people passing you packs. But at a pre-release, it's just, what do you open, and you get to experience all the cards brand new. So I think it's really cool. Colin, you have any opinions about pre-releases in general?
No, not really. They're lots of fun.
Yeah.
I think I prefer draft over sealed.
Oh, okay. Nice. I mean, draft, obviously,
But sealed's fun.
it's got more mind to it, but seal just has that raw, open the packs kind of energy to it.
Yeah.
I like that. So that's what a pre-release is. And Colin, why don't you explain to us what you get? What are we going to see?
Okay. You get 6 packs. While we're on that, what does the pack consist of?
What does a pack consist of? I think Bloomburrow has about
rare,
6 to 7 commons, 3 uncommons, 1 guaranteed rare. You have one wild card, and then you have some other wild card foil slot. So you can open up, I think, 4 rares in one pack, but that's highly unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then so you get your stamped rare, your arena code, and then a 20-sided die, and then a deck box. That's pretty handy.
Okay. Was that sarcasm with a deck box or no?
No, it's handy for the event at least.
Yeah, it's handy for the event, and then you take it home and you throw it away because that thing is garbage. All right. It's absolute trash.
Or you just keep them all, and that's where you put your cards.
Yeah, if you're an unorganized, I don't know, buffoon. So, you know what you're going to get at the pre-release. You know what you're doing, but you're still terrified. And there's good reason for that. It's because you're bad at Magic, right? Or maybe you're new to Magic. Either way, you're bad. So, the sealed format. You're going to get these 6 packs. You're going to get this extra rare. What do you do with it? Right. So in order to understand how to build your deck, first we need to understand what is sealed in general. So I put some bullets here that I think are helpful in how we should understand sealed. So the first thing, sealed is really a war of clubs rather than swords. Now, what I mean by that is whenever you draft, you're trying to build this little machine and you're trying to finagle your way into a victory that way. And it's very specific. It's very, you can slice it, right? But when sealed, there's no slicing to be had. Instead, you're opening up these cards and you're trying to club your opponent to death with these cards. You may not use them in the most appropriate way where the Magic creators were like, ooh, this is so smart and this is so blah, blah, blah. No, this is a 4/4. This thing has 4 power and I'm going to hit you with 4 power. And maybe that's all it is, right? And so that's kind of what I mean by just it's a war of clubs. And then second, it's a war of attrition, rather than a fast war. And so a lot of sealed games can grind out to a halt where you're sitting across the board from someone who has a creature that's just has enough power to kill yours, so you can't attack, they can't attack, and y'all are just sitting staring at each other. That can happen a lot easier because, once again, you're not playing those combos that have all this other stuff. And maybe you find those combos, but a lot of times you won't. So yeah, point number 3, it's a lot bombier. So let's say the opponent across from you opens up, the number 1 rare of the set, and they play it on you. Maybe you just lose. Maybe that's it. Whereas in draft, maybe you have the answers for those bombs because you're a better drafter. So sometimes you just get a bomb dropped on you and you just shrug your shoulders and you move on.
It'd be like that.
It do be like that. So last 2 points are kind of just thrown in here. Tricks matter more because of set knowledge. What I mean by that is you're going to be able to get your tricks off and do more tricks because people don't know the tricks as well, and vice versa. You might get blown out by a trick because people just know what they're doing, or they have the trick in their hand and you don't know what it does. And then finally, a lot of people are playing more creatures. By that I mean, by the time a draft gets going and people learn the format, there's a few creatures in every color that just don't get played anymore because people know they aren't any good. But it's sealed, you'll see all the creatures. You're going to, come up against all the bad blue creatures and all the bad green creatures. And you just have to, get used to that. So that's what sealed is. That's what the feel of sealed is. Colin, you got anything to add?
Nah, I like it. That sounds good.
Okay. So yeah, moving forward, we're gonna go basically through a step-by-step process. What is sealed? How do you do it? So Colin, what do we do first?
So, all right, step 1, you give the packs a good sniff. And you don't let people judge you for it because you like to sniff packs, and that's okay.
Oh my god.
That's step 0. Step 1, you open your packs and you divide by color. Organization is very important. Okay, notes MKMK.
Yeah, let me take this over. So we're doing the Karlov Manor pre-release. It's actually the first pre-release we've done together. We're all hyped up. I'm sitting there building my Boros deck. One of my friends is sitting next to us, AJ, and he's building, I can't remember, I think he was playing black-red. I don't know. And then Colin, sitting across from me, is building a 2-color deck. He's like, I don't know where all my stuff is. I'm sitting there basically done. I look up at the clock. We've got about 5 minutes left to deck build. And I'm like, you don't have a lot of cards. I feel like you don't have anything really. Look over, there's a stack about 1.5 inches high of cards sitting right next to Colin's elbow. And I say, what's that over there? And Colin looks down and he realized he had set aside basically half of his sealed pool. And he had 5 minutes to basically rework his entire deck with all this new information. It was disgusting. All right. You do not want this to happen to you. You have to be organized when you open these packs.
So space can be kind of an issue. You're at a table with multiple people and everyone's trying to get organized. So it helps to have a plan of like what that's going to look like. So you divide by color, and then it helps to divide by rarity. So as I'm usually separating things out, I'm pulling out my rares, and then I'm separating according to color and commons and uncommons within each color. So I'll have a black pile with black uncommons, and below that a black pile with commons. I'm also pulling out any lands that I find. It really helps to have your lands in a pile that you can easily access as you're thinking about your deck that you're going to build. You can look over and see which lands can help you splash colors if that's something you want to do.
Yeah. So why separate the commons and the uncommons, Colin?
Oh yeah. So especially at a pre-release, you don't know which commons are going to be like your high performers necessarily. it's hard to get a feel for. So generally speaking, your uncommons are going to be more powerful. They're going to be better sized creatures often, if they're creatures. Like we talked about earlier, it's kind of a game of clubs instead of swords. So that helps a lot. So that'll kind of give you a direction. Say you have like 6 red uncommons, and once you get everything out, and you've got like two black commons. Red may be one of the colors you first look at when you start building your deck, and then you can look at your rares as well and kind of factor that in as like into your starting direction.
So, one of the big reasons that you want to separate these colors out, and especially these rarities, is that maybe you have 2 colors that are equal. Maybe you have, 15 red cards, 15 green cards, and you're thinking, maybe I'll play one of these 2 colors. Well, if you separate out your commons and your uncommons and your rares, maybe you see that your red pool has 5 commons, 5 rares, or 5 uncommons and 3 rares, and your green pool has 10 commons and 3 uncommons and a rare. So right there you can kind of see maybe this green pool is tricking me. Maybe it's not actually that power level that I want. Maybe it doesn't have that number I want. And so you look through your green pool and it's got all these bad commons that you don't really want to play. And then you look at your red pool, it's got these 5 red uncommons that are pretty good, and then it's got some, whatever. But that can help you right away, just like say, I don't want to play green. I want to play red, or I want to play whatever other colors. So yeah, you're going to open up a lot of cards, and it's a lot easier if you can just cut off a color right away, which you can usually do, at least one color. And then yeah, also on the flip side of that, having those uncommons helps you see where's my real power at. Because if you can build a deck with mostly uncommons, which you won't be able to, but if you could do that, it would probably play better than a deck that was built with mostly commons in general.
Okay, so let's talk about rate. Something worth considering.
What's that?
It's well, funny you should ask.
Oh,
The rate is the sizing of a creature in relation to its mana value. So something worth considering as you're evaluating your cards. Well, specifically your creatures.
mm-hmm.
This could also apply to like, the rate of a removal spell and stuff, but I don't know. Simpler to just talk about creatures, I guess. So what's it's worth considering what's the like rough average rate of a card, and then you can look at a card and say, is this above or below that? So roughly an acceptable average rates of a card would be, if you took your CMC, which is the cost of your card, the total cost, multiply that by 2. You want that amount of power and toughness, for example. Hazard Root Herbalist costs 2 and a green, so that's a total CMC of 3. You would look for a total of 6 power and toughness as a roughly on rates creature, and that could be a 3/3. So a 3-mana 3/3, a 3-mana 2/4, 3-mana 1/5, or I guess even a 3-mana 0/6 would be a on rate creature. So Hazard, what is he? Hazard Root Herbalist is slightly below average. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad creature. You just want his ability to kind of carry some weight, since he's a undersized creature. Patchfall Recruits is a 1-mana creature, with a total of 3 power and toughness. A 1-mana 2/1 with trample is a very good creature. And then I think we got some upside down here as well. So, and obviously this is a rare, so you're not going to see a lot of these. But that's rate. Would you add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think you covered it. Basically, you're looking at rate, and it's kind of a first step at evaluating, right? Because a lot of times you'll see, oh, a 1 mana 2/1, that's above rate, I should play it. Well, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe there's a reason it's terrible, right? It can't block.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say 1 mana 2/1, this creature cannot block. If that's all it said, I wouldn't want that creature. It's just not, I need blockers so I can trade off if I need to. And so, like, you need to evaluate the whole card, but raid is a good place to start, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, there's a lot more to card evaluation than this, but this is kind of since we're covering the basics.
Yeah, and so, like, we're not trying to get into the nitty-gritty, right? But when it comes to rate, this is just a good place to start. And if you're a beginner, you can do rate. It's not hard. So you just sit there and, this is a 3 mana 1/4, slightly below. Do I think this ability is good enough for me playing a slightly below rate creature? In terms of Hazard Root Herbalist, then if you're playing a lot of tokens, then yeah, it is. And if you're not playing a lot of tokens, then probably not. So that's rate. This is a good way to just start off with your evaluation. But yeah, moving forward, we did step 2, separate by rarity. You've got your cards laid out. You've got everything in front of you. Now, that information, where do you start with? You start with your bombs, and you start with your removal. All right, so as you can see, we have these colors in front of us. Maybe we've eliminated a color. Maybe we've eliminated 2, or maybe we even have one color where, like, I want to play this color for sure. I just need the second color so I can really build this whole deck together. So we want to start with the best. We want to start with the cream de la cream, right? So you want to start with your rares and mythics. And what that does is, first of all, you're looking at your most powerful cards. If you look at your sealed pool, you see 50-something cards. You don't know what to do with that. But if you look at your rares first and you say, I've got 3 blue rares and green rares. They're all blue and green in some combination. And then I look at my blue and green cards, and now, look, these frogs are going to work with these frogs, and that's going to make this whole deck, and that'll be really cool. So then you just start building it away.
You got some direction.
Yeah, you get some direction. It's a little arrow. So first of all, what is a bomb? We're talking about bombs. What's a bomb? Well, if you look to your right over here, Joe Dirt, he's a bomb. If you haven't seen that movie, don't bother. It's not worth it. All right.
It's worth your time. Go watch it immediately.
So basically, a bomb is a card that can win the game on its own, unless it's dealt with. Our example is Lumra. Lumra is insane. 6 mana. It's huge. It's got vigilance. It's got reach. It'll win, right? It'll just keep attacking, and sooner or later, it'll win the game. That's what a bomb is. Whereas you have a card like Clement, the Warrior Wart, which we don't have the art up, but Clement is this frog, blue-green guy, and he's all about making your other frogs better. And so he doesn't do a whole lot if you just have Clement. But if you get a lot of frogs and you get a lot of this entering and leaving the battlefield bounce effects, Clement is what makes it all sing, right? Maybe they're just playing the fiddle. One frog's playing the fiddle, one frog is, playing the drums, but Clement comes along and he's the conductor, right? He's your build around. So that's kind of the difference between those two. And when talking about Bloomburrow, from my kind of first pass of evaluation through the set, it's a much more build around kind of set. Whereas if you think about like Outlaws of Thunder Junction, that set was all about the bombs. It was, I slam this card down on the table, you better answer it or you're done. And then your opponent slams their own card down on the table, and you just keep slamming cards on the table until you wear out your cards, right? That's what Outlaws was. And you're all wearing cowboy hats for some reason. So that's what bombs are. And then you go to, where's my removal at? So if you can look at your removal is how you answer your opponent's bombs. So let's say they play Lumra. Does Lumra have Indestructible? Does Lumra have Hexproof? No. So if you have your 2 mana kill a creature, boom, you just pop a cap right in Lumra's face, and you're back to the basics. So if you have the removal to answer the bomb, you're just as good. So that's why you want to start with bombs and removal. Okay, because if you want to be able to win the game, and you want to stop your opponent from winning the game. So yeah, that's and I would say removal is even more important in sealed, because people are just playing these creatures as 4/4s, as 5/5s, as 6/6s, rather than building this whole little engine that has multiple parts to it. Yeah. Did you have anything for bombs and removal?
Uh, I don't think so. They're both very important, and yeah, it's a good place to start.
Yeah. So this is where you start with that. You move forward, building your deck, and I put this little tractor here because tractors don't build things.
Onward.
Whatever. Okay, Colin, tell us how we build a deck.
Okay. Uh, so we're gonna talk about the basics. So your deck has a minimum of 40 cards. You can go more than that, but you usually don't want to.
Why don't we want to do that? We're new. We want to play all the cards.
Yeah, so you're less likely to draw your best cards is something to consider. So 40 card deck, which should consist of 17 lands. This is kind of your go-to number. You can deviate from this a little bit safely in some instances. For example, um, if you have a deck that's has a low mana curve, meaning a lot of your cards are cheaper. They don't cost as much mana. You can maybe go 16 lands, because you'll have your mana to cast those lower cost spells. Anyways, all right, creature counts. So why is this worth talking about? You have to have a way to win the game. Um, if you just build a deck with tricks and removal, you don't have a way to win the game. Uh, Now we put 8 to 19, which is a very wide range here, because your creature count is deck dependent. So, for example, the otters in Bloomburrow, once you casting instants and sorceries and non-creature spells. Um, it's okay to have a lower creature count in that deck. The overall game plan isn't is to kind of control the game more with those instances and sorceries. The frogs, on the other hand, are very reliant on other creatures entering the battlefield. So um, you're going to want a high creature count there. That's just an example of how the creature count can vary, but it's worth considering um, when you're looking at deck construction. So sealed can be a more creature heavy format, um, for various reasons.
Like what?
Um,
What are the various reasons?
I don't know, why is it more creature
Well,
heavy.
it's because people are, instead of relying on a straight control deck, a very specific control deck that you see with blue black a lot, or even like blue red. People need creatures in order to win the game, whereas in draft, people can build decks that have a lot less creatures, and they also only have the good creatures because they know what the good creatures are. We don't know what the good creatures are, so a lot of people are going to be playing these, you know, not as good creatures because they think they need them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Um. So rares and bombs is worth noting. Play as many as you can. Uh. No, as you can. So within the confines of what your mana base can support, it's
Mm-hmm.
probably a good way to put that. Um. Removal. Play as many as you can. Um. I will caveat that to say that should be based on the overall plan of your deck. So we put a wide range here as well. 5 to 12 removals is what you want. Now, honestly, getting to that 5 number is frequently going to be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we put 12 as kind of like the upper end of what you would ever want. So you had just tons of removal spells. Um, like at that point, you're just going to be struggling for ways to actually win the game, um, instead of just controlling it. Maybe, I don't know,
No, yeah, that makes
but
total sense.
yeah. Um, so yeah, removal is very good. You need the ways to interact with your opponents, um, and what they're doing. Tricks are a part of each limited set. So a trick is like, so it's usually in the form of like an instant speed spell. So you're attacking and you give your creature +2/+2 or something, or you give it indestructible and lifelink. Um, Tricks can be good. They can often act as kill spells. They do lots of things. 0 to 6 tricks. Some decks don't want tricks. Some decks, for instance, the mice in this set love tricks. So the mice um, have the Valiant theme. Valiant wants you to target the creatures, so tricks are more valuable in that type of deck. The general rule of thumb: 0 to 6 tricks. I wouldn't, even in the mice deck, probably wouldn't play more than 6 tricks, unless you're just looking for cards to play. That's kind of the thing about sealed, is sometimes you just need cards to build a functioning deck.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that in a lot of ways, especially in sealed, tricks can sometimes replace your removal if you don't open the removal, right? If you're missing the removal, if you're missing that number that you want to hit, sometimes you just have to play a trick instead. And that's definitely a downgrade, but you shouldn't play, like, if you're really struggling for removal and you say, well, I don't want to play a trick, I'd rather just play a creature. Sometimes you need a trick because it can be removal in a way. Like, it's conditional, but it's better than letting your opponent play a 4/5 flying creature and never being able to deal with it. Because remember, sealed is going to be a best of 3. It's a match. And so let's say game 1, you have these tricks in your sideboard, which we didn't really talk about that. When you build your deck, all the cards you're not using are your sideboard. But you're playing this person, they play a big flying creature. You have no way to deal with it. And then you go to your sideboard and say, I don't have any removal for it, so I guess I'll just hope they don't draw it. Well, instead, play a trick that maybe gives your creature reach or something. You need to change something about your deck so you can answer that. Hopefully you open some way to answer it. I mean, I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the basics to deck construction. That's kind of how we think through deck construction. The last thing is basically just a checklist. So you've got your 40 card deck. You've made that. You're thinking, I'm the best there is. That's what you're thinking. Widowy. You're wrong. All right. Your deck is trash, probably. So first thing you need to look at, mana cost. Okay. Especially, this is a huge thing for new players, because I know when I started playing Magic, first thing I wanted to do was get all my 7 mana creatures, put them in a deck, and I'm like, these people don't know nothing. They don't got nothing on me, right? That's not a good thing to do. So the reason you want a low mana cost, you want your CMC, which is converted mana cost. Actually, that's the old language. People don't, that's not how, it's just mana cost now. So you want your mana cost to be less than, I would say, around 3, your average mana cost, because you want to be able to play your spells, right? That's the number one thing. You could have all the 7 mana creatures in the world, but you'll never play them because you'll be playing lands
before you get to.
And then you're dead. You play land number 6, pass the turn. They play land number 6, play 3 spells, and then a swing in for 10 damage. So your mana cost needs to be on the low end, right? You still want those 5-6 mana spells that are, really good, but you have to earn those by playing the low cost spells. So check your mana cost, make sure it's reasonable, right? If it's above 4, that's probably unreasonable. So, maybe cut some of those 4 mana, 5 mana creatures that aren't as important to your deck and put in some cheaper stuff. Number 2, check your enablers and your payoffs. So what is an enabler? We talked about this in our archetype breakdown. An enabler is something that helps your engine run, right? And sealed is going to be a little difficult because maybe you can't build that engine, but whatever archetype you're in, lizards, frogs, rats, whatever, your enablers are the things that help you do what you're trying to do. So let's just take lizards. right? Lizards, their whole archetype is about dealing damage to your opponent on your turn. So that could be through combat, and that could be through pinging damage. I'm going to deal 1 to your face. Your enablers are going to be things that there's a creature in the set that's tap, deal 1 damage to your opponent. That's a huge enabler for lizards. Or an enabler could be something that gives your creatures menace, so it helps you attack and deal more damage. All of those things are enablers. So you need to check, do I have a way to do the thing I'm trying to do, right? And then you have to have payoffs as well. Let's say you're doing, we've talked about frogs a lot. Let's say you're doing mice. You're doing the Valiant, where you're targeting your own creatures. You could have all the enablers, and you have the combat tricks, but if you don't have a reason to be doing that, then you're going to lose, because you have to, if you're not gaining any benefit, then why are you playing the deck in the first place? And so you have to have reasonable payoffs for your enablers, right? I think a good rule of thumb, and you could play with this a little bit in your deck, but 2 enablers to every payoff sounds about right to me. Colin, would you say that's true or no?
I would say more 50-50.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just I don't know.
Yeah. I just,
guideline.
I think it's more important to be able to do the thing in general. Maybe I just value the enabling side of it, so that way I never feel like, because to me, I guess, and it's kind of like getting mana screwed rather than mana flooded. I would rather have the ability to do the thing and be drawing to the payoff than have the thing and not be able to do it, I guess. Yeah. So I guess that's kind of my what I would rather have. So
you could probably really spend some time on this topic and look at specific decks, even within this set, and get some more I don't know, look at which sets want more or could use more, whatever, more payoffs versus enablers, and more, or vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Like the raccoons probably don't need that many enablers specifically, because it's just spend 4 mana on your turn. So maybe you lean more into the payoffs there. Who knows, right? It could fluctuate depending on your deck. So after you look at your mana cost, after you look at your enablers and payoffs, then go to your card type count. And what that means is creatures, instant, sorceries, enchantments, artifacts, whatever. So this set, enchantments and artifacts don't matter as much, so you probably don't really need to worry about those. But your creature count, your instant and sorcery count, your land count, those kind of things matter a lot. And so thinking about the otters, let's say, if you only have 2 or 3 instant or non-creature spells, if you only have 2 or 3 of those, then maybe you shouldn't be in otters. Maybe you're in the wrong deck. Or if you're in the mice and you only have 3 creatures, you need more mice, right? Because the mice are all about helping each other out by pumping each other up. And so it's just important to pay attention to those kinds of things, and especially when it comes to a control deck. And what I mean by control deck is basically you're trying to kill your opponent's creatures as a primary objective, and then you do your thing, right? And so a lot of people get into this mindset of, I play all my removal and I win that way. Well, that's not a win condition. There's no winning there. You kill all their stuff, and then they play another creature, you don't have the removal, you lose. And so if you're playing a control deck, if you're saying, oh, I'm going to control the game, that's fine. You can do that. But you have to stop and say, how am I going to win? What am I going to do? Do I have enough creatures to actually, get the damage through after I kill all their creatures? You have to think about that kind of stuff as you're, after, and this is a good time to think about it after you build the deck. You can space it all out and look at it. Hopefully you've got some sleeves. If you play without sleeves, stop right now. Listen to this. If you play without sleeves, I'm coming after you. All right? Because you gross me out. I'm sorry, but that's what you do. Anyways, moving on.
Needed to be said.
So that's card type count. Moving forward, creature rates, right? So we already kind of talked about rate. Maybe it's a good time to just recheck, right? Look at my rates again, see, am I playing a bunch of creatures that are 5 mana 3/3s? That's not good. I don't want to be doing that. That's lame. So just check your rates again. Make sure you're not playing a bunch of below rate creatures. That's just a, that should be a quick one. And then number 5, are you playing 3 colors? Because if you are, first of all, God rest your soul, because 3 colors is going to be difficult in this set. I would not recommend 3 colors to newer players. But if you are doing 3 colors, do you have the ability to play those 3 colors? We're not going to get too deep into this, but if you have one splash, if you have a single red pip in your green-white deck, because you're splashing in the Naya, rabbit thing. I can't remember the name of it. If you're splashing that in, do you have enough sources of red to be able to cast that spell reliably? Because if you don't have enough red sources, if you only have 2 red sources in your whole deck, the ability to play that card is equal to 2, then the chances you're at a 33% chance to never. That's not right. I don't know odds. Yeah, I'm not even going to try to get into statistics. But you need to be playing more than 2. All right, you need to have more ways to play that creature. I think what's the base number? Like 7, right? Not per pip, but
I don't know.
Yeah,
the way I think about it is like, so you can play 2 colors with just basic lands. So if you're even split, green and blue, you have let's say 9 and 8, 9 islands and 8 forests. Like you can play your deck pretty reliably. So kind of going from there, like say you want to play 3 cards that have a white pip on them. Like you're gonna need like, I don't know, 4 or 5 sources. I'm just thinking out
if
loud
I have
here.
3 pips, I want more than 4 or 5 sources personally.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, it's weird, and that's what I'm saying. It's hard to get into that, especially in this set. Like Outlaws, you could play 4 colors, and it was fine because there's common dual lands. There's common lands that have 2 colors on them. This set there isn't that. Yeah. There's one common land that fixes for color, and that's about it. I mean, the rest of it is either uncommon. There's like 2 or 3 mana dorks at rare for some reason. There's 1 common mana dork, so you have to be playing green if you want to do that. It's just a lot of difficulties in playing 3 colors in this set. That's why I would just not do it if you can help it. So yeah, let's just move forward because it's just not a topic to really get into. The last thing was creature type count, and I just threw this in because it's Bloomburrow. When you want to do Bloomburrow sealed, I mean this whole set is built around typal synergies, right? And so if you're building one of these typal decks that cares a lot about lizards, how many lizards are you playing? You need to know that number and know that you actually are going to be able to pull off what you're trying to do with the lizards or the frogs or the rabbits or whatever. Yeah. So that's just a final checklist. Check back through, check those things. If you like your numbers, if you're solid with it, I would say run it. I like to, after I build my deck, what I'll do, shuffle it up, and I'll sit there and I'll draw my 7 cards, and I'll say, oh, I like this hand. Or, oh, I hate this hand. I'll shuffle it again. Maybe I'll do that 3 or 4 times, and if every single one of them is I hate everything I drew, then maybe I go back to the drawing board. That's just one last thing I like to do before I get into my games. And you usually only have 45 minutes to build a deck, which sounds like a lot, but it's not. You will pretty much run out of time. Yeah. What did you say, Colin?
It goes by a lot quicker than you think.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So that is our Bloomburrow pre-release prep guide. But we're not finished yet. There's one more step. So we want to go and pull up a sealed pool and build it right in front of your eyes. So Bloomburrow, we can just go right here, open up a sealed pool. We got 6 boosters coming our way. Now, technically, we're going to be missing a rare, but whatever. So it likes to show us our rares right off the bat. We don't want to do that. We want to start with the colors, right? We want to start here. So we separated by colors. That's step 1. Step 2 was separate by rarity. So how do we do that, Colin? Oh, here?
So layout. And then, right there.
Boom. So we can look at our rares and our uncommons and all those things. Wow, we got a lot of commons. Isn't that weird? We got so many commons.
I've done a couple of these on here,
I'm
and
I'm just kidding.
okay.
That was a joke. Okay, so what do you notice right off the bat about our rares, Colin?
3 greens is good.
3 greens is
Uh,
good. So
we got a lot of green, so
yeah,
also got a lot of green uncommons.
that's true. So number one, Caretaker's Talent. We got a rare here. Whenever
That's
a
a good
token
one.
enters, draw a card. Triggers once. That is
Nice.
good, right?
Uh, yeah, and then I think the level 2 creates a token, doesn't it?
Yeah, it creates a token. Level 3 pumps all your tokens. So this is the kind of thing where this might draw us into that token deck. This is the kind of rare that might say, hey, play tokens, right? So let's just put that in the back pocket. That's right there. Step 2, Thunder Trap Trainer. 2 mana offspring for 4/1/2. That's pretty expensive. Remember, the offspring gives you a
Undersized
1/1.
creature.
So if we're talking about rate, that's a 6 mana 1/2 and a 1/1.
Yeah.
Just FYI. And this
Yeah.
ability, you draw a card. You draw 2 cards. Basically, right? It's got a lot of text on it, but it pretty much boils down to 2 mana 1/2 draw a card, or 6 mana 1/2 and a 1/1 draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decent. Nothing I'm gonna go out of my way to play, probably.
Yeah. Definitely not something that's gonna draw me into blue. If I'm in blue though, I obviously will play this creature.
Yeah.
Drawing cards is good. Okay.
Yeah.
Hearthborn Battler. 3 mana 2/3, so a little below rate, but it's got haste, so that's really good. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, this deals 2 damage to target opponent. This card is a banger. Okay.
Yeah.
This card is sick because it's both sides, right? You play 2 spells on your turn, you take 2 damage. I play 2 spells on my turn, you take 2 damage. That is beautiful. Now, we'll have to look at the rest of our red cards and see if we can actually play this card. But we want to. This could draw us into red. So we have something kind of drawing us into specifically white-green tokens. This is a card. This is kind of drawing us into red a little bit. For the common good. Green XX spell, Colin. What do you do with this?
I don't know. What does it say?
Create X tokens that are copies of target token you control. Gain indestructible.
Okay.
Gain a life for each token.
Interesting. So it does nothing if you don't have tokens.
Here's what I do with this.
Do you put your sideboard in?
It's gone. I am not playing that card. This is the
Yeah.
exact kind of card people love in sealed. People want to play this big splashy thing. It doesn't do enough.
Yeah. I mean, if we end up tokens, it's a banger, though, right?
No, it's not. It's a 3 mana sorcery that creates 1 token and gains you 2 life if you have a token.
Okay. Yeah,
And
it's real mid.
The rabbit tokens are all 1/1s.
Oh, yeah. True.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not. No, it's not a thing. Tender Wild God, we've got 2 of these bad boys. 2 mana 2/2, Offspring 2, tap for any color, tap to add a counter.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
this is playable in
worth
any
noting
green
if
deck,
we-
right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we end up green, which we very well might, just looking at we got a lot of green uncommons.
Mhm.
Our chances of getting a third color just went up because
Yeah,
we can.
this definitely increases the odds of a third color. And then we have Gev. Gev is a 2 mana 3/2, so a little above rate, and then it has ward pay 2 life, which is way above rate. That's awesome. Other creatures enter with a counter for each opponent who lost life. Whenever you cast a lizard, deal a damage. So this is obviously the lizard rare, but you don't actually need lizards to make this card work. You could just play this and deal damage, and all your creatures have counters on them. Even with all that, if we're trying to play green, we don't need this card, obviously.
Mhm.
It depends on our other colors, though. If we're playing green-red and we already know we can splash, why not we just splash in Gav,
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
And then we got 1 mythic Glarb, Calamity's Augur.
What they do?
He's 3 colors. So right off the bat, not what you want to be doing in general.
Yeah.
2/4 Death Touch. Look at the top card of your library. Play lands, cast spells, mana value 4 or greater from the top of your library. That's a really good ability.
Yeah.
Tap to surveil too. So, I mean, I don't want to play him because he's 3 colors. What do you think, Colin?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to start there. At least if we end up in those colors, then
Yeah. So this is the kind of situation where, like, I think going to the uncommon. So we looked at our rares a little bit, and we're kind of out of order here. I like to look at the uncommons first because I think uncommons can help me figure out what colors I want to play more. But we've looked at our mythics and rares. We've kind of decided that green white is where we would want to be if we could be in a color combo. But we can't make that decision just yet. So let's look at our uncommons here. We've got 1 white uncommon, which is kind of, I think, damning for white in general. And this isn't even a great uncommon. This is a okay one. It's a flash creature. I don't know. It's a mouse thing. Valiant. I want to go look at green. I don't know about you. That's where my eyes are drawn.
We can start there.
Yeah. So
I like it.
Stocking the Pantry. What should we do with this one, Colin?
What is it? When you put a counter on something, you get a
supply counter
pay
2, remove a supply, draw a card.
So if we end up putting a lot of counters on things, it's worth it.
Exactly. You know what? It was hilarious. Look at this. Tap to put a counter on a creature.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So like, I'll just go ahead and say I think this card is a trap a little bit, but in sealed, in this slower format where we might get to this point where we're not doing anything, this card could very well, be a game winner because we just get to draw as many cards as we want if we have the counters, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think it's something to think about. I think we should drag it over with these two. As like, these 3 things do things together, They interact well. Bark Knuckle Boxer, 2 mana, 3/2. When you expend 4, gain indestructible.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's good. I would play a 2 mana, 3/2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if we're not doing the raccoon thing, then he's occasionally gets the indestructible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't. You don't have to be in raccoons for him to be a thing. Bushy Bodyguard. 2 mana, 2/1 Offspring. When this creature enters, you may forage. If you do, put 2 counters on it. Hey, look, more counters synergies.
Yeah.
Do you think that's worth putting right here with this stuff as a counter thing?
Yeah. He's not excellent.
Yeah, he's definitely not excellent.
Green white, but maybe.
Okay.
He's worth putting over there.
3 Tree Scribe, oh crap! Whoops, sorry. Whenever it or another creature you control leaves the battlefield without dying, put a counter on a creature you control. See, like, this is very much a frog thing. And as of right now...
Yeah, we're not going to do that much unless we're frogs.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, on rate, he's fine as well. 2 mana, 2/3.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, let's drag him into his own thing. Because we want to play green. If we need another card, he's a good rate creature, right?
Yeah.
So we can just drag him there. I would put this in the same category. Paw Patch Formation. So we got a trick here. 2 mana instant. Destroy target creature with flying. Destroy target enchantment. Draw a card. Create a food.
Pretty cool.
It's actually not a trick, really, because I mean it kind of is, but I think this
destroy creature with flying is real mid.
Yeah, definitely.
Destroy enchantment is cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then draw a card, create a food. In the food deck is awesome.
Yeah, in the food deck
for us is mid. I don't know. I'd put it with the raccoon.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this card could play in almost any deck this set because of the amount of flying. But I see your point, so I'm putting it in this set as well. And then banger card. This is one of my favorite cards in the whole set. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty sweet.
This just goes here. If we're playing green, we're definitely playing this card. This card is insane. Okay, so we looked at green there. I mean, we could go to our green commons, or do you want to keep looking at uncommons?
Let's finish our uncommons.
Okay. So we got short bow. I think this is pretty much just a red-white enabler. So, like, if we're not in red-white, we shouldn't play it. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so let's just cut that. Get that out of here.
Yeah.
Blue-black, Tide Color Mentor.
Yeah, I think he's great in blue-black.
I hate him. I think he's terrible
Really?
in every color combo. He's so not worth it. He's a 3-mana 3/3
Yeah.
menace, so that's fine. But then the threshold, are you playing him on turn 3? Because if you're playing him on turn 3, you're not at threshold. So
That's true. He gets the ETB with the threshold, doesn't he?
it's literally just an ETB. So what?
Yeah.
I
I don't know. 3-mana 3/3 menace is like decent,
I still think it's bad.
especially if you're playing a controlling game.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he's great.
I don't think he's going on our deck. That's for sure.
No. Onward.
So looking here, we got a lot of blue uncommons. Let's see. 1-mana sorcery. Exile target creature control, then return it. If it's a bird, frog, otter, or rat, draw a card. Yeah. I mean, this is great in the frog deck, but we're not doing frogs as of right now.
Yeah.
So I don't think so.
Next.
Create a 1/1 prowess for 2 mana. Or 4 mana, do it again for a 2/2 prowess.
Okay.
I think that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut that. We're not doing the otter thing. And yeah.
I don't think we've chosen our direction yet. I mean,
We've got green.
Considering we've got a lot of green, there's a good chance we're going green.
I think
I think it's worth noting. Okay. I wouldn't at this point.
Okay.
I'm still looking at everything.
You're still looking. So 4 mana, 3/3, Offspring 2. Pretty good. When he ETBs, tap up to one target creature and put a stun on it. I mean, that's a good ETB for sure. If we're doing frogs, this is a great frog to flash or to keep, going back and forth with Splash Portal and other stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's if we end up frogs. I'm gonna put frog stuff over here because we could end up frogs.
Okay.
None of this is frogs. Yeah. Spellgyre, I don't like this spell. What do you think about this spell?
It's mid.
4 mana counter is crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot to hold up.
Although drawing cards in sealed isn't, it's something.
Yeah.
I'll leave it here. We have one white uncommon, so we can't really evaluate this until we look at our white commons.
Yeah.
Fell. I mean, I would play Fell in any deck. 2 mana destroy. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Consumed by greed. Gift a card. Sack a creature. If the gift's promised, return from your graveyard to your hand. I mean, that's pretty good. If we're in black.
Yeah, it's double black.
So I like both of those. If we're in black. We have 3 red. I think this card's terrible. This is a trap card.
What is it?
So when it ATVs whenever you spend 4, put a stash on it, pay 2 mana, sack it, discard your hand, draw cards equal to the number of stash on it. Like, we see this in limited often, and I just don't think it works enough.
Yeah, I'm not real high on it.
Yeah, I say we cut it. Harness of Storms, 3 mana, 1/4. You draw a card whenever you play a non-creature spell. Exile a card, you can play it. Until the end of turn. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is that worth trying to play?
It's good, but it depends on how much.
Yeah, I'll put it over here.
If it's viable.
Quake-Tusk Boar, 5 mana, 5/5, reach, trample, haste. I like this card a lot. I think this is a great card.
And effective. I like it.
I'm putting it here too. We're not playing black as of right now, but if we are, we got 3 uncommons. Spellgyre. I'm putting this in the sideboard. I think that's kind of a trappy card. And then Mousetrapper's here. Okay, is it time to start looking at commons? Should we go back to these? I mean, as of right now, we don't have any token support at all. So we need to look at our commons over here. Let's look at our white commons. So, not a token support. Not a token support. Triple Carrot Cake, which is probably not even a good card, right?
Yeah, Carrot Cake's a real filler.
Yeah, like very filler. And we have 3 of them. Sonar Strike is a removal spell. Rabbit Response is a trick. So we have no token support at all in white, which I think
Yeah,
means
I mean, we have carrot cake, but
we
like
don't want to
carrot
play
cake.
carrot cake, right?
No,
So
carrot
like
cake's
to
decent.
me, white is pretty much unplayable. Because
Okay.
like if we don't want to play carrot cake, we have 6 white cards. One of them is almost nothing because we don't have any tokens. This is a trick. This is fine removal, I think. Whatever life gain stuff. This is counters. So that's nice. Oh no, it's not counters.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even counters. No, we're not playing white, right?
Probably not.
I say we can do. It's not even worth splashing any of that stuff. So the rest of these, I mean, let's look at. You want to look at green next?
Yeah, let's start at green.
Yeah, because we got a lot of green. When it enters, put a counter on target creature you control and gain a life. Well. Look what we have here.
Yeah.
Our
nice.
counter support just got a little better. We have 3 of these.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Dang.
We definitely don't want to play 3 of these. Like, that's not good.
Yeah. Probably not.
At least cut 1, probably cut 2. I'm going to move 1 over here. I think 1 is like a good... Well, you want a 1-mana little frog sometimes. Cash grab. Mill 4.
What's he do?
Put a card, mill this way into your hand. If you control squirrel, create a food. I mean...
Good in the scroll deck. I don't know that we have that support yet.
Yeah. We definitely don't yet. I'm going to put it over here, and then if we need it back, we can get it. Heaped Harvest is more fixing. We're not playing 3 of them, obviously.
No.
Search your library.
Okay, but it's worth noting. What is it? Search it, put it in hand?
Put it on the battlefield.
Okay, battlefield.
So 3
tab.
mana,
Gotcha.
go get a land. Pay 2 life, or pay 2 mana, sack, gain 3 life, go get another land.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like,
Pretty
this
sweet.
is 1 is, like, over here, and then we're probably not even playing 2, I don't think. I don't think we would play 2 of these, right? Unless we're
we're not ramping that much.
Yeah,
we don't
we're
have
not
much to ramp
ramping.
into.
Baker's Bane Duo, I think this card is dope. 2 mana, 2/2. ATB, get a food.
Okay.
Like, that's just good by itself. When you expend 4, it gets +1/+1 till end of turn. So, like, spend 4 mana, it's a 3/3.
Yeah, nice.
Like, I would put this in this tier, this second tier that we have right now. We have a 4 mana, 4/4, Offspring 2. Can't be blocked by creatures of power 2 or less. I mean...
That's decent.
Yeah.
I mean, filler, on rate creature.
Yeah, filler on rate. That's pretty much where that is. Tree Guard Duo, 4 mana, 3/4. When it ETBs until end of turn, target creature you control gains vigilance and gets +X/+X. X is the number of creatures we control. I mean, we're doing a creature-based deck, I think, right now. In general.
Probably, yeah. We're not getting the like really good wide cards, but it'll play.
Yeah, it could play. I don't want to play 2 of these. I don't think that's good enough. We have a fixing land here, Colin.
Yeah. Okay, dude. So like
we got a lot of fixing. Fountain
we
Port
do.
Bell,
We really do.
I would play 1 of these for sure, not 2.
No.
This guy is a definite no, right? 3 mana, 2/3.
What's his ability?
Pay 2 mana, put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. It's the the cycler guy.
Okay.
I mean, that's a sideboard card at best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a squirrel. So.
Yeah. When you forge, put a 1/1 counter on it.
Hey, counters. We don't even have to play black to play this creature. I mean, we would probably want to. But, I mean, I'll put it here.
Yeah.
The cleric. I mean, unless we're doing bats, this isn't worth it. Just in general. So
sideboard it.
2 of those. Hey, we do have a rabbit. Yeah, I'm gonna sideboard these. 5 mana, 3/2. Get 2 rabbits.
Yeah, I think that's like a decent on rate filler creature.
Yeah, it's a little below rate to me. I mean, you get 3 of them, so that's something. I guess the 3 bodies evens it out.
Yeah. Yeah, outside of like some go wide payoffs, like if we put in that 1 card.
I'm gonna put it over here for now. In this category.
If we need like a creature to get to our 23, he'll play.
Yeah, exactly. Veteran guard mouse, valiant stuff. He gets +1/+1 against first strike. I mean, I don't know. Doesn't seem great.
Yeah.
I think he's sideboardable.
He plays in the mouse deck.
Yeah, he's great. He's good there. And then we have two of these guys. 3/3 for 4 flying.
Okay.
When he attacks, gives something +1/+1 till end of turn.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at our. You can sideboard them.
Yeah, I think these are sideboardable as well. Okay.
Yeah.
What do we want to look at next?
All right. Red.
Red. Might of the Meek. We got two of these. 1 mana instant. Trample +1/+0 if you control a mouse. So just trample and draw a card. I mean, it cycles itself, which is fine. Definitely not a reason to play red, though.
Nah.
Duo, deal a damage, cast on creature, untap it. I mean, we're not really doing this thing, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, it's kind of whatever. We have two of these. These are, like, real filler. This is some serious filler here.
Okay.
I think almost unplayable level of filler. And then you have a bad removal spell. I think red's terrible.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you disagree?
Yeah, I think it's real mid.
I'm going to sideboard all this.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we still need to find our second color.
Yeah, I'm thinking black is where I'm going. So let's look at blue first. So Shore Up I like Shore Up a lot.
I do too.
So I would definitely play that. Pearl of Wisdom, I'm only playing it for doing otters.
Yep.
So I don't think we're doing otters. We have 3 of these. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
What is this pool, bro? Skyskipper Duo, flying 3/3 for 5 mana. When it enters, exile to one target creature you control, return it at the beginning of the next instep. Dang, the beginning of the next instep? Oh wait, at the end of your turn, basically, because this is a creature. I mean, if we're doing frog stuff, I think this is pretty good.
Yeah, I think it plays if we're doing frog stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put it over here with the other blue cards. Mind Spiral, 5 mana, gift a fish. Target player draws 3 cards, so you draw 3 for 5 mana. Tap target creature on opponent controls and put a stun counter on it if you give him a fish. Like, this is the thing. Like, drawing cards is good and sealed, but like, I'm definitely not playing 2 of them. That's insane.
Yeah. And it's a sorcery, so
it's also a sorcery.
It's downside.
Yeah, I'm cutting. I'll put the Shore Up over here too.
All right, let's look at black.
All right, Ravine Raider, 1 mana, 1/1 menace. That's pretty good. 2 mana, gets +1/+1 to end of turn. I think that's a fine creature, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not impressed, but I mean, it'll play.
I think, especially if we're doing counter stuff, like turn to 1, play this thing.
Oh, that's
turn
true.
2, play this. Like,
it does play with the counter stuff.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm like kind of looking at it. I mean, I don't want to play 2 of them. Bonebind Orator, 2 mana, 2/2, so perfect rate. By perfect, I mean very what we expect. 4 mana,
very average.
exile it from the graveyard, return another creature from your graveyard to your hand. I actually like this a lot more in sealed than I would in a draft. Because just like get value later. You know, you're 2 mana, 2/2, and then later it does something, you know, after you trade it. So I'm fine playing that.
Okay.
Saver, I mean, I play this in every deck, right?
Yeah. It's 2 mana.
I mean, it being 2 mana sucks, but it gives you a food, so like it pays for it, I think.
Yeah, I think it plays.
Yeah, Daggerfang, Death Touch 3/2 for 3 mana. I'm fine with that mana, stat. When it enters, mill 2. I mean, if we're doing forage stuff, that's good. We don't actually have a lot of forage. We have 1. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. So, I mean, I don't know. It's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Starlit Soothsayer, 3 mana, 2/2 flying. Beginning of your instep, if you gained or lost life this turn, surveil 1. I mean, that's very filler. Let's, I don't know. We'll probably never do that. Psychic Roll 3 mana. Target opponent discards. If you control a rat, surveil 2. We don't control many rats. I mean, this. What do you think? Is this ability better in sealed, or does it still not matter? Or is it still not worth it? I should say. It definitely matters, but.
Then I like that card if that's your game plan. Like if your game plan is for the game to go long and you ultimately have more cards than them in the late game, then I like that card.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know if we're doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm cutting these red cards real quick because we're definitely not doing that. Wait, did we miss this? 3 mana, surveil 2, draw 2, lose 2. That seems bad. Like losing 2 life.
Losing 2 life is rough. Again, I think if like we kind of do care about our graveyard, so the surveil 2 is nice.
Yeah. I mean, we do have food.
I don't know. I would play one of those.
We have a food in our stuff that we're not forging, so like we could just actually crack it for live.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, so
I mean, it looks like we're doing green-black, right? Are we splashing Glarb?
if we're doing green-black, I think he's worth splashing probably.
Yeah.
What does he do again?
So Death Touch
Play
2,
things,
4
mana
for 3.
value.
Look at the top card of a library at any time. We can play lands and cast spells. Mana value 4 or greater.
Okay.
I wonder, does Offspring, you may pay an additional 4 as you cast this spell. So no. No, that wouldn't work. Like, are any of these other blue cards worth splashing?
What was the... Hold on, let's take a little more look at our green, because we know we're green, and that'll kind of help us determine black or blue as our primary second color. So 1/1 counters, mana dorks. Well, hold on. Go down. What is that one again? It's just the 4/4.
Yeah, 4 mana, 4/4.
And then, and then the one above that.
This is the 2 mana, 2/2. Get a food.
Okay. Okay, what all blues did we cut?
Did we cut? Otterball Antics. Spellgyre.
Okay.
We cut the Tidecaller Mentor. Which I guess if we're going to splash blue, would you want to play this? We're doing a lot of graveyard.
Yeah, we are going to kind of fill our graveyard. Maybe. Yeah, I would put him over there. He may end up being a cut.
Yeah.
I wonder what other time's that, by the way.
I don't know.
Like, we get... Mind Spiral, Pearl of Wisdom. Okay, yeah. Black's looking like our second color.
Yeah.
Cool. Green, black.
So I think like Shore Up is not something we would splash. This guy, the Offspring is 2. If it was just 2 mana, maybe. This creature enters, tap a creature. Are we doing? We're not doing the frog stuff, so no. Right, that's good. Can we cut this Head of the Homestead?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can cut that. Okay. Now let's change our layout to CMC, right? So CMC looks great. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Are we playing this rare? Yeah. This draw card rare?
Read the bottom text.
When it enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. Reveal a non-creature, non-land card from the... Oh, what? Oh my gosh. This card is terrible.
It's crap in our deck.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're playing a lot of creatures, aren't we?
Yeah. We're sitting right now at 25. So we need to cut 2 cards and we're done.
Yeah.
And we're definitely creature heavy, so I like the Tree Guard duo in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like we just need some bigger stuff, so like I'm fine with keeping this in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, we're doing so much with the graveyard, this might be worth keeping. That's the only thing.
Yeah. So let's make a quick pass at our graveyard synergies. Anything surveil and whatever.
Yeah, graveyard synergies. What do we got? Well, no, it's not actually. What? Do we have any?
I thought we did.
I thought
That
we did
one's
too. So Surveil 2's
that's
here.
surveil.
Surveil 2's here. This is Mill 2. This is Graveyard Synergy, Fountain Port Bell, because it goes to the graveyard when you sack it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Man, I thought we had more. So, actually, I don't think he's worth it.
Yeah, go ahead and cut him.
Boom. One more cut. I think Glarb is worth splashing, though. He's dope.
Yeah, he's just a good creature.
Yeah.
If nothing else.
And, like, let's say if we hit
synergy,
one card off this, like, obviously not. Well, even the lands actually are good to hit off of it because you get rid of those. But, like, if we can hit one of these, it's just insane levels of worth.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, I think Psychic Whirl is, like, the first thing I'm going to.
Yeah. What is it target?
We don't have
we're kind of a mid range, right? We're definitely not aggro. We're not really full control.
We have some good control. We have a few things.
Yeah. Control of rats. Rat count's pretty low, I believe. So target. This is just target opponent discards 2 for 3 mana.
Yeah.
It's gettable.
Yeah. That's enough right there. We just hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's look at our blue sources. We got one here, one here.
Mm-hmm.
No. 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. 3, 4, 5. I mean, we're already at 5. I would say we could just play like one island.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna auto land. What? No, I don't want that. I just want. Give me an island. How do I make it give me an island?
I don't know.
How do I do that? I want to put the lands in my deck. Whatever. I would say play one island. Let's look at our breakdown here. We have 15 green and 9 black. So like that kind of breakdown, I'd probably say if we're playing one island, we should have 14 lands left. I'm thinking like 8 green and 6 black. You think that sounds about right?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, that's what I would do. So 8 green, 6 black, 1 island. That's our deck. I mean, let's do our checklist real quick.
I was gonna say, let's just do the checklist.
So mana cost, we're crazy good on, right?
Yeah, we're doing.
Our average CMC is 2.4. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Enablers and payoffs. So we're not actually doing much of that in general. Like there's not much that
we're really not. We didn't end up with like enough to like.
We couldn't support any of the archetypes that are kind of listed. So we're in black, green, black. We're doing foods, but we're not foraging. We're not like actually using those foods. Instead, we're kind of relying on our control, and then like Galewind Moose drawing him is probably pretty important.
Right.
Yeah, and I think like we have some counter synergies, so like that's really good. We have a lot of card draw actually for our deck. I think that's gonna help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we have a pretty solid mid-rangey kind of deck. Card type count. So yeah, that's good. Let's remind ourselves. We're a creature heavy deck, which is good. We want that. 15 creatures is fine. 15 basic lands. Well, it's not counting everything. Whatever. 3 instants, 2 artifacts, 2 sorceries, 1 enchantment. I know what our enchantment is. What's our... here's 1 artifact. What's the other artifact? Oh, it's the harvest. There it is. Yeah. Okay. So we've got a good ramp too. That's kind of cool. Our rates are awesome. We have good rates across the board, I think. Right? 1 mana 1/1, 1 mana 0/2. Those are both. Actually, this technically is a 1 mana 1/3. So this is way above rate because it gives a counter. So yeah, that one's awesome. I don't think we're below rate on a single creature. Well, actually, this one's below rate, but it has offspring, so whatever. Everything else is like either at or above. Like this one, I don't care about the rate as much because it has Death Touch. That's like its defining feature. So I think we're pretty good.
To have like a higher toughness, but it's still a decent creature.
Yeah. So we're good there. Color fixing, we're great on. We've got 1 island plus 1 fixing land plus 1 go find a land plus play lands from the top plus go find a land. Like we have all we need. These tap for any color. We're good there.
For 1 blue pip, we're doing good.
Yeah, for 1 single blue pip. And then creature type count, we don't care about that. So I think our deck is done. I think
so.
This is our sealed deck that we would 0-3 with. Yeah.
It's decent at best.
Yeah, it's I feel like our pool kind of sucked, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think this is making the best of what we got. There's not like I can't think of anything in here that we could have built that I would think is better. That I would want.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. It was just kind of a tough little build here. Like, Gev is cool, but double off colors. Actually, no, it's only single off color. Like, you know what? I would honestly consider, like, this is just kind of last minute, and we don't have to do this, but I would consider the double splash here of Gev as well.
Because it's 1 pip of each.
Yeah, and most of our color fixing is fine. Like, we don't, like, we could fix for either color, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
So, like, he's something to also consider. Everything else, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't play. So, yeah, I think we did a good job in general.
Yeah, I don't know that we would have came out with, or if it was possible to come out with much better than this.
Yeah. So, anyways, this, we hope this was helpful to y'all. I mean, we kind of faffed around there a little bit. But that was our Bloomburrow Prerelease Prep Guide. I hope this has been helpful. We are LimitedInsight. Once again, my name is Hunter.
I'm Colin.
And that's Colin, yeah. And, so we're not done with Bloomburrow content. We're going to do the pre-release this weekend, this Saturday. And so what we're going to try to do is me and Colin and our friend AJ, we're going to sit down and kind of go through what happened at Sealed. And just talk about what decks we built, what we ended up with, who we played, what kind of decks we went up against. So I think that'll be really fun content. That's going to be less, strategy and whatever. And then after that, we're thinking maybe like once a week we do a draft update because we all play on Arena. So we're going to just talk about what cards are winning, what cards are failing. And Colin, you got anything to add to that?
Mm-mm. Sounds good.
Sweet, yeah. So once again, LimitedInsight. Leave a like, subscribe. If you love, I would love to have some more comments that kind of, tell us what you want to see because we want to make content that people actually care about. So, that is all. We are out. Deuces.